It's a unified solution.
Well, I think it's time to let the audience have a crack at you. So will you now spot people, recognize them,
Absolutely.
respond?
Yes. Do you want me to go down or stay
Oh, you
sitting?
could stay here. I think we're higher
Please.
up here than down there.
I'm Harlan Ullman. My question is both for you, Ed, and also you, Zbig. I would counter your argument by saying that the issue is not economic, but we have a political process that's badly broken because politics are no longer about governance. They're about getting elected and doing the worst things to the other side. And both political parties have become so radicalized by the left and right that compromise is out. Having said that, I remember the 70s when Zbig became National Security Advisor terribly well, when the situation was really very, very bad. We had lost Vietnam, the oil embargo, Nixon resigned, all these kinds of things, Desert One. And the nation really was in a spirit of malaise, inflation and unemployment, and the misery index was running high. Tell me why then was not as bad as today. And even though you're very pessimistic about today, and I take your arguments about a broken government, and I think that's a big distinction. But tell me why we were able to recover in the late 70s and why you think we're not going to be able to recover today. Because I think from a psychological position, this country was probably worse off then than now.
I think it's a very good question. The country knew that it was in crisis. It wasn't responding in a unified way. But if you look at the kinds of things that were done under Reagan, pragmatic things, as well as Carter, but let's move on to Reagan because it makes my point more strongly. And under Carter, I mean, the Bayh-Dole Act that brought the university system into the innovation, it made it much easier for universities to fund innovation because they could keep a share of the gains. A beautifully pragmatic thing to do, which had a big impact on American innovation. If you look at the tax reform of the 80s, the simplification of the code, if you look at the Greenspan Commission, how Social Security was dealt with then, if you look at Sematech, the creation, under sustained assault from Japan, the semiconductor industry, which the Reagan administration agreed was an absolutely critical strategic industry, even the Reagan administration agreed to industrial policy. And look at immigration reform. I think Jim Mann is here. There he is. And Jim would be able to elaborate on this at much greater length. But the fact is, it was understood there was a crisis. It was understood the model had run out of a lot of its usefulness, and measures were taken to respond to that. Where is that now? Some people don't even agree that there is a crisis. Where is that now? I think the political system is degenerated a lot further, and if you use purely political measures of polarization, I mean voting measures of polarization, you will see that it's far more polarized and therefore far more paralyzed today than it was then. And I don't, as I say, I would emphasize, I don't see